So chatting today with Sarah, trying to answer some of the common questions, or I suppose common concerns and issues that are raised in our community. And one of them, and it ties into a lot of the girls' goals this time, is around snacking. So just wanting to, I suppose, explore some strategies that might help you and delve into a little bit more about the whole snack issue. So something that keeps coming up time and time again is girls snacking after their kids have gone to bed and wanting to find a better way to do that, or figure out why that's happening and to solve that issue, I suppose. So Sarah, do you want to talk us through maybe 3 of your top tips for the curbing the snacking after bedtime, or dealing with the snacking after bedtime?
Yeah, so the first thing that comes to mind is that there's nothing actually wrong with snacking. You know, you need a certain amount of food in a day, and how you put that together is completely up to you. Some people feel better, as in more satisfied, they've got more energy if they have 3 really big, decent sized meals. Whereas some people prefer to eat, a little bit less at those meals, but then have some snacks in between to top them up. So how you feel should guide which camp you're in. So there's nothing inherently wrong with snacking. I think we've been told, both sides, haven't we, that you really need to stop eating after 6 p.m, because your metabolism will suffer. But we've also been told you need to eat really frequently and you shouldn't be having big meals. So no wonder we're at odds with that. So how you spread your food out in the day is completely up to you. And if you factor in a snack after bedtime, that can be fine. But what I find is that with people that are worried about their snacking after bedtime, it's usually because something hasn't been addressed. Now, I know that's vague, that could be anything. Often it's, I would want you to check in with, have you actually eating enough during the day? Or so you haven't actually had enough energy, enough calories, and your body's telling you about it later on. Maybe you're trying to be good, so you're having really small portions. And then that's coming up later on when you actually sit down and actually have a breath and relax, you're able to listen to your body, what it's been trying to tell you all day, that you're actually
and it's hungry.
Or it could be coming up just because of sort of a habit or some emotional things going on as well. So you've really got to take the time to identify what's going on for me now at this moment.
And I suppose that's why we often speak to the girls about, in the first couple of weeks, let's not try and change the world in the first couple of weeks. Let's just become more aware. Let's start thinking about, I am reaching for a snack, or when am I reaching for a snack? Why am I reaching for a snack? What was I just doing before? How am I feeling? How do I feel after? Because that awareness, just creating a little bit of space in your day and in your mind where you can be aware of what you're doing, that's the first step to changing some behavior. So I like what you said. It's not that it's not snacking is bad. We do have that kind of ingrained in us that snacking is extra, right? We were talking about this before. Like, I think back to when I was learning in health, and you've got the food pyramid, and these are the things that you have to eat, and then you've got these 2 little extra things that you're allowed. So you're only allowed 2 of them in a day, and they're special little treats. And so that's just ingrained, like they're this extra thing that we shouldn't have. But you might need them.
What is a snack? Often now when we think of what a snack is, we are thinking of something that comes in a packet that might be high sugar, high fat, more of like that treat territory. When really, if we are snacking because we're hungry and we're refueling, it really needs to be something decent quality. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have the high sugar or high fat, whatever it is you're craving. But if you are actually hungry, or you maybe haven't had enough fuel in the day, then, you can make a decent choice with, maybe some yogurt and some fruit, but have your Oreos with it as well, or have a bit of chocolate with it if that's what you're craving too, because you've got to remember that, of course, I'm going to talk a lot about food being fuel and fueling our body right and making sure we need enough, but we also eat for emotional reasons too. And it's not always a bad thing. It can be a bad thing if it's compromising the quality of your diet. So if you are eating a heap of packet food and you're not getting enough veggies, then obviously we need to look at it. But we all eat for good emotional reasons. When it's someone's birthday party, we want to celebrate with nice food. So we've And it's okay to attach emotions with food and to have that sometimes. But you need to be the judge of if it's appropriate or not. But I get can be really hard with all this messaging that we've got.
Yeah.
That
We're kind of compounded with, that's right, that we shouldn't, there is this idea that we shouldn't be doing it. And I suppose we can be our own worst enemy. We can be so harsh on ourselves. We can judge ourselves for wanting the snack, for having the snack, and then berate ourselves for doing it as well.
Yeah.
Whereas really, we just need to show ourselves a little bit more self-compassion.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't talk to our kids like that. We wouldn't talk to our friends like that. But yet that's our internal kind of dialogue. Because if you pull it apart a bit more, it has been ingrained for a lot of years that these are treats. You only get these when you've been good. They should be small. And when you start like realizing that's in your psyche, you do start to realize how much that message is bombarded in our world as well. And you start to go, what the hell? Like, no wonder we're so confused. Like, there's so much noise around it, right? And I think you go.
The more you restrict, the more you're going to want it. And if you've gone 100%. A week being really good with no chocolate, if chocolate's your thing, and you've been putting in a big effort, when it comes to the end of the week, if you've got a stressful day or something comes undone, you're going to have a blowout. You're going to go and buy a block of chocolate. You're going to eat the whole thing. Then you'll feel terrible about it. Whereas if you just let yourself have a little bit of chocolate when you did feel like it, without being, guilt-free, issue-free, move on with your life and your day. And you can still be fueling yourself really well and feeling good about it too.
Yeah. So I like that. Having so it's not about not having snacks, but the big thing is understanding why you're reaching for the snack and get to the issue of that first. Like I feel like a common one why busy women do is because they haven't eaten enough in the day, because their body is hungry or their body is craving micronutrients, macronutrients, and it hasn't had it yet. And then we kind of go, well, I shouldn't be eating, so we restrict it even more, and it just builds and builds and builds. So it can be like, if your day is busy, then like you said, factor in having a snack. And then if you do have that snack, and I like how you've spoken about this many times, but putting it on a plate, making that part of your nighttime ritual, right? Like if that's part of our self-care, we talk about food being comfort food. Why can't good nourishing food be your comfort food? It doesn't always have to be the treat food that we think. So
and it comes into the reason of why. So specifically after bedtime, after you've put the kids to bed, this is really common that we want something, and you go to the pantry or the fridge and just stop and check in and okay, what's going on for me? Have I just realized I'm actually hungry? And it may not be the case, and it's okay, if you're not actually hungry, but you want something. You've been on all day, you've been working, you've been parenting, and all of a sudden they're finally asleep and you just want something for you. And that is cool. And I like what you said, we can have, comfort food. Often I'm speaking from experience here is I go for sugary, high carb things. That's what I crave, especially if bedtime was hectic. Whereas if I just stop and think, okay, what would be really nice right now? Might warm up some berries, or I might be lucky enough to have some stewed fruit in the freezer, or in the fridge to warm up, and have that with yogurt and some muesli on top. And that's a really nice, comforting, wintry style sort of snack.
Yes, so true.
To be able to sit and enjoy it without somebody's little hands reaching inside it, being able to relax. And it might be the first time that I've actually sat down to eat and actually relaxed
and had a moment to think.
In a rush.
And think for yourself. And that's the key, right? So if we are thinking snacks are these little packeted things, these sweet treats, these blocks of chocolates or whatever, so that's what we buy as snacks, or that's what we keep in our cupboard as snacks. If we start to realize that, snacks can be whatever, really, any kind of comfort food, then planning that, like having that in our menu plan, have that on our shopping list. So if you really like, fruit and dark chocolate, put it on your shopping list. And do a little plate of some strawberries and dark chocolate if that's your thing. Like maybe it's popcorn and something else, but
Yeah,
Yeah, like you can, there is so much. There's so you can then like you said, like you say before as well. A snack can be anything. It could be absolutely anything. You can snack on whatever you want, really.
Yeah, and you can just have a quick think back to your day. What were you missing? Did you not have very much dairy that day? Well, make yourself a hot chocolate, or there's plenty. If your energy intake is, you're watching your energy intake, then there's plenty of lower sugar options around at the moment. You can look up your own recipes, whatever. If it's not an option, then just have a Milo. There's nothing wrong with having a Milo. It's actually full of nutrients. It's been fortified. A cup of milk's got really calming effect if you need some dairy. If you realize that you're low on your veggies, well, maybe you could have some nice cheese with crackers, but put some veggies with it as well. So you don't have, it doesn't have to be perfect in terms of, it doesn't have to just be cut up fruit and veg. You can still have the things that you like to eat on there, but just let it fill in some gaps nutritionally as well, and you'll find it a bit satisfying that way.
Yeah, cool. I like that. So summary of that, just be a little bit more mindful of why it is that you're reaching for a snack. Often with busy women, it's because you're actually hungry and your body hasn't been filled with all the nutrients it needs over the day, can be one. So then be thinking about plating up something that has a few different micronutrients or macronutrients in it is a good way to go. If you're reaching for snacks because you're tired, stressed, bored, angry at somebody who shares the house with you, can you feel that, maybe that is comfort food, or maybe that is some other self-care strategy that is needed at that time as well. Maybe it's a stretch, maybe it's music, maybe it's journaling, meditation, gratitude diary.
Maybe just a cup of herbal tea or something, where you take your away with something to hold, like a bit of a ritual. And you may find after that, after doing that other activity, I still want something, and then that's fine. Come back to it, but at least it gives you that space to make a decent decision.
Yeah, so true. And then having that those healthier snacks prepped or planned for and in the pantry and in the fridge, so you can grab them when you need them. Cool. I love that.